To be back. Episode 12 of OKnowsSports here. We got exciting stuff going on today. We got an interview that I'm going to jump into a little later with my buddy Alex Feyas. He's a diehard New York sports fan. He knows everything about New York. He knows everything about sports, and he's just like us at OKnowsSports here, where he's obsessed. And I'm excited about that. Our first ever guest on the show. And first, before we do that, and first and foremost, I want to announce some huge news. A lot of big things coming this week on OKnowsSports. First off, if you didn't see, we partnered with Dub Club on the sports betting side of OKnowsSports. If you haven't seen that, check out the Instagram at OKnowsSports and check out our Twitter at OKnowsSports, especially for betting information. If you have any questions about it, feel free to DM me. And then secondly, you see this hoodie I'm wearing, this awesome lavender hoodie. PC Picnic Club is the brand. They are a new sponsor on OKnowsSports. Couldn't be more excited about this. Check out the link in the description. They have all designer type clothing, handmade, handcrafted. Use code OKNOWS for 15% off on all merchandise. Not just one thing, not just two things. You can get 15% on your entire order. I'll show off this hoodie a little bit. I'm no model, but I got this. And we got this on the back, the awesome picnic basket logo. I'm excited about this. OKnowsSports is going to the moon, as I said on my Instagram. I'm excited. Now we'll jump into the content of Oh Knows. Obviously, we got the Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. I'm excited about it. But I'm a little bit bummed. I say I'm excited, but I'm a little bit bummed because I wanted the Lions and I wanted the Ravens. So I went 0 for 2, I guess. But I really did think the Ravens were going to win. Lamar, I guess, just isn't ready, as sad as it is. Mahomes, still that guy. And America, unfortunately, is getting what they want with Mahomes, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, that whole gig. So drop your predictions below. We'll talk about it a little bit more with Alex Feyas when he comes on. But I'm excited for this interview. And we got more interviews coming up the pipeline. Drop a comment, drop a like if you want more interviews and you want more content like this. On next week's episode, I will do my 3 favorite bets for the Super Bowl and kind of jump more into the analytics and the odds, as you know we always do here at OKnowsSports. But for now, enjoy this interview with Feyas. I'm really excited about it. Here we go. Today we got our first ever guest on OKnowsSports, one of my closest friends, a diehard New York sports fan, Alex Feyas.
Man,
glad to have you, man.
Thanks for having me, Shippy.
So we're kind of going to jump into everything here. We're going to talk about New York sports. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, obviously, coming up in 2 weeks. We got a lot to talk about today. First things first, what are you thinking about the Super Bowl? Obviously, kind of a bummer. Mahomes made it, but what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's tough to pick because you never know what's going to happen with Mahomes, but you also never know what's going to happen with the 49ers. We thought the 49ers were going to be out of it the last 2 weeks, down in the second half pretty big, and they mount a big comeback behind their game manager, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I've been seeing all that stuff with Bosa saying that. Yeah, that was awesome.
I think I'm going to have to go Chiefs. I think it'll be close. I'm going to go 27-23.
Okay.
Chiefs win. Mahomes got to be Super Bowl MVP. I just think with the Taylor Swift stuff and that storybook ending, it's just all coming together.
Yeah.
For people to hate the Chiefs for the next 10 years. And I think the 49ers have a better chance this year than they've ever had just because their defense. But, the Ravens' defense was a historically great one this year. Statistically, they won the defensive Triple Crown. And I just think Mahomes gets it done. I think he's a winner, and he's the greatest player that I've ever seen skill-wise. And, Brady still got the accolades, but I'm going to go with the greatest player of all time.
Okay, I like that. And you guys heard it there. 27-23 Chiefs. Drop your comments below what you think about Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Obviously, we'll dive into it a little more next week as well, jump into the numbers. But I like that prediction. So you said game manager for Brock Purdy. Do you think at this point Mr. Irrelevant is a game manager, or do you think he deserved to be in the MVP convo? What do you think?
I think there's a big stretch between MVP and game manager. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he played out of his mind this year. It's obviously a credit to his teammates and to his system that he's in. But, which quarterback isn't? You can only name maybe 5 quarterbacks that can play outside of that system and the system that they're in and be successful. Off the top of my head, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, maybe Burrow, maybe not.
Maybe Burrow,
I don't know. And I just think I think he gets it done when it matters, and people don't like the whole, 49ers can make a good quarterback at anybody. They did it with Smith. They did it with Kaepernick, Garoppolo. I mean, and C.J. Beathard looked good with them and whatnot. But
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. You gotta watch him play, and you watch him make these throws that he might not make them every play like Mahomes does, but he makes the throws that matter. And he got lucky last week with the off the helmet, but people are gonna use that forever to hate him. I just don't. I don't think a game manager can get a team where he's taken them in 2 years. Especially Shanahan's known for blowing leads, and he's came back. They've came back from 2 already, so something's different about this guy, and I just think that it's a different. He's not a game manager. There's no way.
Yeah, and I
call him
think
a game manager.
Also on that point, one thing that is like that Bosa talked about in the interview is he was like, how is a game manager going to run for 55 yards? And what he kept saying is like he managed to drive us down the field, and I like that because I agree with you. I don't think he is a game manager. Should he have been MVP? I think it should have been the running back on his team, Christian McCaffrey. But either way, like I don't understand really why he gets faulted for getting drafted to a team that has great weapons. Like I've never understood that whole thing. And like obviously, like you said, like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen can work with guys that are not very good, and he obviously has great weapons. But like I've never understood why he gets faulted for getting drafted. I
mean, Brandon Ayuk had his best year with Brock Purdy. George Kittle
true.
Was the number 3 fantasy tight end, number 2. I forget which exactly. He was top 5
definitely
with Brock Purdy. So I mean,
McCaffrey, number 1 running back.
Yeah,
I mean that kind of goes without saying.
You can say that he's a game manager, but these guys all got better. I mean, maybe Debo's the only one, but with Christian McCaffrey there, Debo can't be used the way that he's usually used. And I just think if these guys are having career years under him and performing at the highest level at their position, I mean, Ayuk probably should have been an All-Pro or at least a Pro Bowler. I don't know if he obviously wouldn't be in now, but I don't know if he was an alternate or. I don't believe he made it.
Yeah, I don't think he did. No,
because Amon-Ra didn't make it, so I don't see why.
That was crazy.
That was nuts. He's in it now, but it's just not.
Yeah,
the same.
that
so
was
is Gardner
crazy.
Minshew. You see that?
That's
15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I love it.
There you go. 1.5 QB.
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, that's 1.5 TD to interception ratio. Yeah. That's crazy.
But yeah, no, I don't see how you can call him a game manager. He's not Jimmy Garoppolo. Like he makes plays when they matter.
Agreed.
And like this guy was drafted as a practice squad backup quarterback with the last pick in the draft.
Literally.
Because Trey Lance was like a godsend. And where's Trey Lance now? He's not gonna win a ring anytime soon. I promise you that with the Cowboys. But
no, I agree with that. Okay, now we'll jump into a little bit of New York sports. So Feyas is we call him the king of New York. He's got he loves New York sports, whether it's Yankees, Knicks, Giants. So first we're going to talk about the G-Men. We talked about them 2 weeks ago here at OKnowsSports, how they have the 6th overall pick. And I said what I thought, where obviously they have Daniel Jones signed to like 35 or 40 mil a year. I forget the 40 mil a year. 40. Exact contract. But obviously he got hurt, season-ending injury last year. And I was saying 2 episodes ago that I think they should go for a guy like Jaden Daniels if he's available. Maybe change the whole vibe up with the team. What do you think as a diehard fan who lives and breathes the blue?
See, my problem as a fan is, and you know this, I get too attached to my guys. We'll go into the Knicks soon. I was damn near in tears when R.J. Barrett got traded. Manuel quickly, like I hook on to my young guys on my team, and it's no different. I would hate to see. I mean, I love Daniel Jones as a person. Like he's a great. He represents the Giants organization well. He represents himself well. But I just don't see him bringing us to the next level. And like, I think you give him his last year. They have an out with I think like $16 million in dead cap next year, which would suck. But I mean, it's worth it to get $40 million off the books. I think you gotta go. If you're not gonna draft a quarterback in the first round, you gotta get him in the second or third. And even then, I don't know if I trust that.
Yeah,
so I mean,
who are we even thinking in the second and third round?
Because if Penix goes down, Nick, I mean, I know Bo Nix has been horrible at the Senior Bowl.
I really hope that for your sake, J.J. McCarthy's not in that conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would.
We talk about game manager. We talk about game manager.
I wouldn't even call him a game manager. I'd call him a handoff merchant. But
I think I
got
said that a
choice
few
words
weeks ago.
as a Michigan State fan for J.J. McCarthy, and if he comes to the Giants, I'd have a pretty big issue. I probably wouldn't watch football for
I
a
wouldn't
while.
mind them going O-tackle or a lineman. I know I'm forgetting his name. Olu.
Yeah,
I think
Fashanu.
Olu Fashanu. Yeah, from Penn State. He's rated pretty high.
Joe Alt from Notre Dame.
Yep.
I don't know.
And
I think
maybe, I don't know. That's a little early, but Olu is projected top 10. I don't mind that for the Giants because of, I mean, like I think I said this last week. It never hurts to draft a guy who's special on the O-line, like the Lions have done the last few years, drafting Penei Sewell. Like that's a guy he's starting for 10 or 15 years. And I don't know if that's the play for you guys, but I'm interested to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think, well, if you're going to go O-tackle, I think you can't go wrong drafting one of those guys. I mean, you kick Evan Neal inside to right guard where he played much better at Alabama as a right guard. You have an all-pro on the left side.
Him, yeah.
And then Joe Alt or Olu, I think, would fit in perfectly. Just signed the Raiders offensive line coach. Looks just like Dable. It's really weird.
I didn't know they signed it. Was that when was that?
Signed him like 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
but he hasn't really been. There hasn't been much
news
out.
They're
still looking for their defensive coordinator.
Talk about the trenches.
But yeah, he brought the Raiders line from like 4th round, undrafted, and like 1 first-round pick to being top.
Yeah,
top half of the league.
Yeah, they're a decent O-liner now.
So I'm excited to have him. But I just think, in my personal opinion, and I've said this to Schiff before, said it to a bunch of the guys, I think Daniels and Drake May both will need a year, kind of like a Patrick Mahomes year, where they play a little, or Jordan Love, where they play a little, don't really play like the veteran gets it, in this case Daniel Jones. Yeah. I think if you don't rush them, and those two guys, like Caleb Williams is going to be special, but you don't rush those two guys, you let them have a little time. Drake May really scares me. I see a lot of Mitchell Trubisky, which is tough. Just
I know all too well.
The plays he makes with his feet set him apart from Trubisky, but I just see too much, especially with the UNC.
Yeah,
I love Daniels.
Played and that whole thing. I agree with you.
I think Daniels is going to be pretty special if he can put some weight on, start taking hits better. But I don't know. In my opinion, I think you go one of those guys at the 6th pick. You take your quarterback. You use the first on a position that you already have a guy signed $40 million to. Yep. Who you know isn't the answer. I could get in all day about how John Mara forced Joe Schoen and Brian Dable to pay Daniel Jones and all that, and how John Mara is this and that, and a horrible owner. But yeah, I think you go quarterback at 6. You let him sit for a year, let Jones play his contract out. You thank him for what he's done, and you send him to the Raiders for a 7th round pick.
Okay.
Yeah, Raiders, Saints, they love their veteran white quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
they definitely do.
But you gotta go quarterback.
Okay. So you heard it there, what Feyas thinks. You heard what I think 2 weeks ago. So comment what you guys think. If you're a Giants fan, or you're a fan of the NFC East, or you're an NFL fan, comment what you think about Daniel Jones and what you think about what they should do with the 6th overall pick. Obviously, we talked about how Feyas is a New York fan. So let's talk about the Knicks, man. I mean, they just went 14-2 in January. I saw a stat that it was the first time that they've had the best record in the NBA in a month since, what was it? I think
96.
Yeah, I think it was 30 years ago. And, I mean, they're playing amazing. That OG trade looks like it's working out. And we'll talk about Brunson maybe being an all-star snub. What are you feeling? How are you feeling about the Knicks? Obviously, they traded your boys away. How are you feeling?
First off, KD, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Like, come on now. I mean, 4 years ago when they signed with the Nets, I mean, I was in purgatory. Like, my best friend's a Nets fan. All my buddies are Knicks haters from home, and it was some of the worst time of my life. And I mean, like, that never worked out for them, and I thank God for that. But like, looking back and getting Julius Randle, and then 4 years later, we got the homegrown kids. We trade him for this defensive wizard who's on a contract year and playing for the Raptors, who are a horrible team. At first, I hated it. I was disgusted. I thought we got robbed. But I mean, it's been the best thing to happen to the Knicks since, obviously since Brunson.
Yeah,
but
since Brunson.
Maybe since I'd say even before Melo, because Melo was great, but he didn't never brought us to the promised land. He was never a player that could win us a championship.
I mean, this team right now, I mean, they're like you said, defense. Like OG is guarding all four of the five positions, and they're.
He was locking up Sengun and Embiid when he was playing that. He could probably guard the five if he needs to.
Yeah, and this is with Randall out. And I talked about Brunson. In case you don't watch a lot of the NBA, tune in and watch Jalen Brunson, because we were talking the other night. I think other than Shai, SGA on the Thunder, I think Brunson has the best footwork in the entire NBA from a non-big.
I could second that.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I think, if we're talking all-star snubs, obviously Donovan Mitchell's coming into play. Maybe AD from the Lakers coming into play. But I think Brunson might be at the top of that list. I don't know exactly his splits right now. You know what he's averaging right now?
He's averaging around 26.
I know he was averaging 30 this month.
Yeah. Well, I think he's averaging right now. Yeah, he's averaging 27, 7, and 4 right now.
Jeez, so. Yeah. So, and on top of the 27, 7, and 4, it's like he manages the game, I mean, as well as any point guard. And he kind of plays like, even though he scores a lot, like a true point guard. And I like how, like, he's a guy that the Knicks can turn to, and they haven't had a guy like that in a long time. Yeah. Where, like, if you're down 2 and you need the rock in somebody's hands,
you need a bucket.
Unfortunately, Julius Randle has not really been that guy, but it seems like Brunson is turning into that guy quickly. And I like where the Knicks are at, and I know you do too.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to speak on anybody, it's got to be the big ragu, Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, he's averaging over his last 17 games, he's averaging 17 points, shooting 45 from the 3, and he's taking 8 threes a game.
I did not know he was playing like that.
Over his last 17 games, and so Thibodeau moved him into the starting lineup for Grimes, which I love. And he's just been, I mean, he went for 33 last night against the Jazz. And, I mean, we haven't had a role player who could go for 33 since we had J.R. Smith. And I think that, like, this guy, you talk about OG, you talk about Brunson, you talk about Randall. I mean, I want to talk about the gritty Knicks, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, Isaiah Hartenstein, Precious Achiuwa, Miles McBride, all those guys. I mean, we got 10 guys we could play 30 minutes a night if we need to. Like, I mean, when Precious went back to the Raptors, he was 9 for 10. He had 20 points. So it's like you got a bunch of guys who are bought in to this winning culture, and you had the worst defense in the league in December, and now you have the best defense in January, and that's all a product of trading for OG Anunoby. Love RJ Barrett, love quickly. RJ was stagnant with the ball. He couldn't get to the rim. He has no dribble moves. He couldn't really shoot the ball. He was just – like Melo put it perfectly, you don't know if the guy has 3 points or if he has 27.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He's a volume scorer.
I loved him. He was the homegrown kid. You know, when he got drafted, he was like, I can't believe I'm a Knick. Or I forget what the quote was in the press conference. He's like, damn, I'm a Knick. And OG has everybody bought into this defensive mentality, this gritty mentality. Like, he can shoot the ball from the three-point line at a high rate. He can dribble when he has to. He's strong inside. He can guard the 1 through probably the 5 for an extended period of time, but he can guard them if he has to. And I just think that trade has everybody bought into a new, different, new look Knicks. And I just think it was one of the best trades that this franchise has ever made.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I've seen people saying, like, if they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals and then they see the Celtics or they see the Bucks, like, who's to say they don't beat those teams?
Yeah.
Like, you look at the Knicks now; they're the 3 seed. They're 2 games back of the 2. So I mean,
yeah, and I mean going 14-2 obviously helps with that. And I agree they match up well. So segueing away from the Knicks and the Giants, I wanted to do a new segment that we've never done here at OKnowsSports, and we're gonna do almost like a draft. So we were kind of talking before the show about something that we could bring to you guys that would be fun to watch and engaging. Also, something where you guys could say who won between us two. And also, you could comment in the comments who you think is your answer to our question. So, we're going to do the draft between me and him for the best 5 passers ever, starting 5 in the NBA, the best passers of all time. Doesn't necessarily have to be by position, but you need 2 bigs, and you need 3 of any other player. But we're going the best 5 passers ever in the NBA. So I'll give him, because he's the guest, I'll give him the first overall pick. So I'll let you go first, and we'll start with, you can go any which way, but we got 2 guards, we got a forward, or you got two forwards and a guard, and then you need 2 bigs.
Honestly, I do want to take John Stockton here.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going to.
Really?
Because I think he was a good passer, but most of his assists came from Karl Malone being a great scorer. I think I'm going to go Steve Nash at my 1 to start off.
Okay, so we got Steve Nash for
Won an MVP solely, 2 MVPs solely because of the way he passed the ball.
Well, the second MVP should have been LeBron.
It should have been Kobe or Bron. But
yeah,
we'll call it 2 because it's in the record books. But I'm going to go Nash here.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go John Stockton. I mean, all-time passing leader. I don't think that's a mistake taking him. So, okay, you got next.
So, at my 5, I'm going to go probably the best passing big of all time, Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
I mean, you watch this guy throwing behind the back,
behind
the head passes, and he sees guys that he can't see when he's turned around, and he's just an amazing passer. It's nothing we've ever seen before, and that's going to be my pick and roll duo right there.
Okay, I mean, that's a heck of a pick and roll duo. Honestly, I wanted him as my big, but we're going to go Magic. Can't go wrong with Magic. I mean, you watch his highlights, he's Magic. He's unreal. So, all right, I got Magic. Who you got next?
I'm going to go Arvydas Sabonis at my 3.
Okay.
Not a very well-known NBA player. He was an international. I don't know.
Yep.
So he was an international guy. He got drafted at 27.
I didn't know he got drafted.
Yeah, he got drafted really late. That's why he wasn't more prominent in the league. But his highlights and his passing prowess were just unreal.
Is he related to?
Yeah, he's Sabonis' father. Yeah,
okay, wow. Okay,
father.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's where
learn
DeMontis
something new
gets
every
it
day
from.
here at Oh No Sports. That's why we got Feyas on here.
So yeah, I'm gonna go him. I'm a little NBA geek, so I know these less known guys, and I know he was a great passer when he was in the league. So that's who I'm gonna go.
Okay. So I already got John Stockton. I already got Magic. I mean, I'm a LeBron guy. Everyone who don't know sports knows I'm a LeBron guy. I think he's got arguably, if not, definitely are in the conversation, the best basketball IQ there is. I'm going LeBron at my 3. So I got Magic at the 2, Stockton at the 1, LeBron at the 3.
So I have Nash at my 1, Sabonis at my 3, and Jokic at my 5.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with Chris Paul at my 2, one of my favorite players of all time.
Point guard.
CP 0 rings, unfortunately.
Yeah, for real.
And, I could have went James Harden there, but I got a little vendetta against James Harden, the way he passes the basketball, especially when he was an MVP. But now he's an amazing passer. I'm still going Chris Paul, though, all time. One of the best passers ever. Should have had an MVP at some point, but yeah. I think my team can move the ball pretty well.
Okay. So I've got no bigs yet. I've got some all-time greats, but I got no bigs yet. So I'm going Draymond. Obviously, he loves playing with LeBron James, as we all know. And I think he is one of the unsung heroes on that Golden State team. When he was in his prime, he's kind of lost his mind. He's turned into like an Antonio Brown type figure. But I know when he go green. When he was on that championship team, he was averaging like 8 or 9 assists a game. And he's averaging, I think, up to 7 on his career. And obviously when he first got in the league, he wasn't averaging many assists. But I think he's one of the most underrated passers of all time. So I'm playing him at my 4 or 5, depending on what I pick next.
So I'm going to go with a guy, and we're doing best passers, okay? We're not doing most skilled. So I'm going to go with a guy who you watch the highlight tapes and you think this guy was Nikola Jokic in the flesh. I'm going Boris Diaw at my 4. I actually saw a highlight tape the other day of Boris Diaw, and maybe Schiff will put a clip in there to show a couple of them.
Yeah.
But he was throwing like behind the back passes out of the post and like wraparounds, and he was backup big on those Spurs team. He gave good minutes. I think he won a championship with them. Not a well-known pick, but I saw that video and I was like, oh my God, he can really pass the ball. And he was pretty damn good at it skill-wise, and the stats don't really show it, but that's who I'm going to go at my 4. So show off a little ball knowledge.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I'm going to go a little more mainstream, and my last pick is going to be Larry Legend. Larry Bird. He was known obviously for jump shooting and just being a scorer and walking into any building and scoring, putting up 40 a night. But he averaged like 6 or 7 assists for his career, and he was an underrated passer on that team. And I like him at my 4, and I'll play Draymond at the 5. And I mean, come on, LeBron can play 3 or 4 or 2.
LeBron can play anywhere.
Yeah,
LeBron can play baseball or football or whatever you want him
for real.
to play.
He could play whatever. He could play in the NFL if he wanted. But so my 5, I got John Stockton at the 1. I got Magic at the 2. I got Bird at the 3. I got LeBron at the 4. Can switch back and forth with Bird if he wants. And I got Draymond at the 5. I would say small lineup, but my 2, 3, and 4 are all above 6'7", so not that small. I like where I'm at, and what are you looking at? Name your 5.
So I got at the 1 Steve Nash, at the 2 Chris Paul, 3 I got AK-47 Arvydas Sabonis.
Okay.
At the 4 Big Boris Diaw,
okay.
And at the 5 Nikola Jokic. My team might not be as skilled, might not have been the better NBA players, but if we're talking pure passing ability, I think I'm gonna rock with my team, unfortunately.
Okay.
But let us know,
Yeah. Yeah, let us know in the comments.
I know Boris Diaw ain't guarding LeBron, but if we're having a passing competition, I think he's going to win that.
Yeah, okay. So let us know in the comments. Obviously, I got some all-time greats in my team, but let us know in the comments what you think. Who won between Feyas and I? And also, in that comment, write who yours would be. Are you going to bring out a gem like AK-47? Or are you going to just keep it mainstream, kind of like I did with LeBron and Larry Bird? And also comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if you like this segment on doing drafts with guys like Feyas, who are just geeks in the NBA, geeks in all sports. And that, I mean, hey, that's who we are too. As you know, we love the stats here.
If you're a fan of this podcast, you're a fan of sports, and you're a geek for sports.
Yeah, so we love it here, and we love the numbers behind everything. And obviously, I always love talking about the numbers. So now we'll jump into the Fey Play of the Week, and I'll release mine as well. As you guys know, I've now partnered with Dub Club, and I'm super excited about that partnership. If you have any questions or inquiries about that, please feel free to DM me. I would love to talk to you about it, but without further ado, I'll step out of the way. Let's hear the Fey Play of the Week.
So I was teetering back and forth when I was talking to Schiff. I was thinking maybe Wisconsin -1.5 at Nebraska. These are some honorable mentions. Knicks -3.5 at home against the Pacers.
That's hard.
That's hard. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna rock with our guys, with our boys. I'm gonna go High Point Longwood on ESPNU, 7 p.m. Check it out. Over 145.5. High Point's offense is one of the best in the country. So they're ranked top 15 in total scoring. They get to the free throw line at the highest rate in the country. Longwood's not a great team, but High Point's defense is also bottom 100 in the country. Coach Huss has got him playing that Creighton offense, that fast offense. Big East ball down in North Carolina. And I think this is almost a 100% lock to go over 145.5.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, then he told me to say it. So
okay. Okay, so you heard it there. We got High Point over 145.5 on your respective books. It'll be -110 odds. And one thing I'd like to say about High Point, obviously, Fey touched on that they get to the free throw rate line at the #1 rate. They also have made the most free throws in the nation. It's probably a stat you didn't know. And one other thing about High Point is that they are, I think, top 5 in pace of play. So I know when Coach Huss took the job for High Point, his quote that Nito Quabain, the president of High Point University, loved, that he said was, "We're going to get the ball, we're going to score, and we're going to run the entire game." And all I can say is he has done that. They're sitting at 18-4. They just broke the top 10 in the mid-major poll. They're ranked 9th in the mid-major teams in the whole country.
Huss was Coach of the Week for ESPN last week.
Yep. Huss was Coach of the Week for ESPN last week. Pretty awesome for High Point. They're on the come up. If you haven't watched them, check them out. They got some special transfers, and they're fun to watch because, I mean, they'll have games where they'll win 90-86, and it's college basketball 40-minute games. So I love watching them. That's our Fey Play of the Week. Leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you like the interviews and you love having a guy like Feyas on, because personally, I have a great time talking shop with him every day. But it's great to have him on Oh No Sports because this is our first ever guest. We got a lot more down the pipeline. We got some college athletes coming on as well that we're excited about. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Fey, you got anything else?
Last thing I'm going to say is if you don't like Oh No Sports, you don't like sports.
All right, well, appreciate you having you on.